What is up, guys? Private Eye Russ here, and welcome to another episode of the Private Eye Russ Show. I am your host, Private Eye Russ, owner, operator, full-service private investigation and consulting firm, litigation support investigations, corporate theft investigations, criminal defense investigations. If you need a premarital background check, I've got you. Links in the description below. Send me an email at russ@privateeruss.com, russ@privateeruss.com, or you can send me a direct message on X at privateeruss. Right now, I'm in the process of being shadow banned on X, so I'm trying to climb my way out of that. There's so much stuff on X that is just absolutely filthy and rotten, and just so many things with the stuff I post, I get shadow banned. Go figure. But they don't call it shadow banning. They call it some other name that still means shadow banning, but they just, whatever. So anyway, so today we're going to be doing a reaction video. I've been asked this question numerous times, and I've had a few people that I've discussed this with. And so I want to see what you guys think, but I'm going to give you guys my opinion as well, too. So to lead up to this, there's a lot of stigma about dating single moms, especially women, women with multiple children. There's a lot of downsides to dating single moms. The financial burden, the emotional toil, the fact that you're going to be, you're going to be on the roster of importance behind the dog, the cat, and the goldfish in most instances. Let's be real. This is the truth. And so a lot of guys are hesitant or even unwilling to go out with single moms, right? So here's a counter argument. Okay, and I'm not advocating for guys to date single moms. Don't start flaming me in the discussion or the comment section. Leave a comment. Oh, like, subscribe, share. Let's get to 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 subscribers so we can get more of this content out. So you guys see I'm making an effort. I'm putting in work every single day, even though I still work hard. But I'm just going to do with a little bit less sleep because being able to interact with you guys and share my thoughts and analysis and stories is that important to me. See? I got you guys. All right. So there are certain instances when it is not a negative, situation. You still do have the increase in family, the blending one family with another. Say if the guy has kids and the woman has kids, it's still typically what happens is the woman is going to expect her kids to take first place over the man's kids. And you see a lot of that happening, and it's always very tragic, and it causes so many unnecessary problems and dramatic situations and that sort of thing. So today we're going to discuss a guy who is well known to everybody. He is the world's best at what he does. Well, one of the world's best. He's not really anymore. He's kind of on the downside of his career, but in his day, he was untouchable. And we're going to discuss his upcoming potential marriage. And so, yes, this guy right here. So, Tiger Woods. So, as you guys know, Tiger Woods has been dating, and they're talking about him being engaged to Vanessa Trump, single mom. So let's go ahead and listen to a little bit of this, and then we're gonna pause during, and then we're gonna discuss it afterwards. Fair
Our
use.
Instagram official, here's everything you need to know about the golf legend's new girlfriend. Her last name is no coincidence. The Upper East Side native was married to Donald Trump Jr. from 2005 to 2018. He proposed to her at a jewelry store, and they reenacted.
All right, first and foremost, guys, stop getting on your knees to propose. I am divorced now, but when I proposed, one of the things my wife, or then fiance, said was, "How come you didn't get on your knees?" I was like, "I'm like, like what was that line from Riddick, the Chronicles of Riddick, or the Riddick, or whatever it was? Like Chronicles of Riddick. I bow to no man. I bow to no woman either. I'm not bound to anybody." But yes, stop doing that. This is a tradition that needs to stop. Why should you be submitting to your wife? Number one, if you're a Christian, it is not biblical. You are not supposed to submit to your wife. Your wife is supposed to submit to you. You are supposed to be the head of the house. I'm not saying she has to get on your knees, but you certainly should not be getting on your knees. All right? I know some people are only going to like that. If you don't like it, let me know why. Tell me why you don't like it, because I think it's improper and it needs to stop. Anyway, let's keep going. So he proposed. Nice, man, chalk stripe suit. Very nice suit. Of course, you wouldn't expect anything else from the son of Donald Trump Jr. Of course, he's going to be well dressed. All right, Let's keep going. Fair use.
The cute moment for Extra.
I'm very happy.
She better be very happy.
Early on in
she's
their
very
marriage,
happy.
Vanessa and Don Jr.
She's marrying the son of a billionaire. Of course, she's very happy. Looks wise, not really my type, but I'm not the one who's marrying her. So, and I'm sure I wouldn't be her type either. So,
Jr. stepped out for a glitzy Halloween party in 2007. A decade later, the relationship crumbled amid infidelity and financial rumors. Don Jr. began dating Fox News' Kimberly Guilfoyle.
all right. So they split, divorced. Infidelity rumors, that's very common amongst power couples and the very wealthy and famous and things like that. There's so much temptation that gets thrown at people. I've told you guys a couple of stories about one of my roommates from years ago. He was an actor. He was a B-list actor. He wasn't like a really famous guy, but women would throw themselves at guys at such a meteoric rate. It wasn't even funny. It was ridiculous, man. And I'm always surprised when guys don't cheat in those circumstances. But anyways, keep going.
Shortly after their divorce was finalized, Vanessa's family had also just received a reported $415 million windfall from their investment in Rayo's famous pasta sauce line. The Trumps have 5 children together: Kai, age 17, Donald Trump III, age 16, Tristan, 13, Spencer, 12, and Chloe, 10. Vanessa recently appeared on her eldest daughter's million-subscriber YouTube channel, where she easily won a guessing game against Kai's BFF on who knows the influencer best.
Vanessa's taking the lead. She's off to a great
Surprising.
start.
I did give birth to her.
I can't do the chewing noises.
That is, oh my God, cut the cameras.
I didn't even show it.
Biggest lie I've ever heard in my entire life,
yeah, I
because she
can't.
makes the worst chewing noises
I know, but
you've ever heard.
Yeah, so pretty much my mom won.
The game was rigged.
Kai has something in common with mom's new boyfriend. She's an avid golfer and plans to play for the University of Miami. Born Vanessa Pergolizzi in 1977, she was known professionally as Vanessa Hayden and worked as a fashion model, seen here in 1998 in an eye-popping look at Australian Fashion Week. Her mother, Bonnie K. Hayden, ran her own modeling agency in New York. Vanessa was signed to Wilhelmina in her teens and 20s and was even
All right. She comes from a wealthy family. Mom was successful. Dad, Pergolizzi. Don't want to say anything bad about him in case he's connected. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Nothing bad to say about this brother or the mom. I'm not trying to mess with those guys. And so she was a fashion model. Okay. Now, I wouldn't be Private Eye Russ if I didn't call it down the middle. Some of this is already somewhat high risk as far as occupations, but there are caveats. Okay, so a lot of the women that get involved in high fashion and become models. No, I'm not talking about your Instagram models. Some people don't even consider them models. They're not the same. They're obviously very, very different. When I think model, I think runway model or magazine model. That's what I think of. Instagram model is a whole different. Instagram model is a whole different category as far as I'm concerned. But most of the women that get involved in these industries wind up getting in on these industries, and the guys getting in these industries usually wind up having to launch their career in some version of the casting couch. It happens in modeling. Happens in modeling a lot, man. A lot of them work on the side as sex workers. Now, they'll never advertise or things like that, but people will get introductions to them, and they will, have very, very wealthy guys wanting to link up with them, both the men and the women. So, but with her, it's different because her mom, her mom owned a modeling agency, so she obviously had some insider. So already had a foot in the door, not even a foot in the door. Her mother was already in the industry, so she's not going to have to deal with the same, she's not going to have to deal with, or she wouldn't have had to deal with the same circumstances a really pretty, skinny girl, off the street would have to. She would have to do whatever she had to do. So, so there's that. So again, I'm going to call it down the middle and give the analysis when things come up.
romantically linked to Hollywood heartthrob Leonardo DiCaprio. Her first love, however, was Valentin Rivera, a member of the Latin Kings street gang.
All right. Okay. Linked to teen heartthrob Leonardo DiCaprio, and then she dated a gentleman named Rivera, member of the Latin Kings. Okay, both high risk as far as having this woman after she's gone out with these guys. You got the alpha widow thing. She went out with, Leonardo DiCaprio, who's broken like a million hearts by now. Women just love the guy. And then she's dating this gangbanger. So that was during her rebellious phase. And I think we could honestly say that in most instances, they call it the rebellious phase. Nowadays, if we're being honest, we would call this the 304 phase. So again, got to call it down the middle. I would never go out with a woman that dated a gangbanger with certain caveats. Okay, this is not an ordinary woman. We're going to talk about this with her connection with Tiger Woods. So we're going to keep going. But the acting thing, look, I lived in Hollywood for a while. I got a ton of Hollywood stories I still haven't told you guys yet, as well as the PI stories I still haven't told yet. But women that date actors, if they're boyfriend, girlfriend, they'll go on and date other wealthy guys or famous guys. But a lot of these guys will do the splash and dash, and you know what I'm talking about. And so, apparently, she's of a different ilk, but she was going through her rebellious phase, which, okay. All right, let's keep going. Fair use.
During her rebellious teen years, she sent her childhood sweetheart love letters while he served a 16-month prison sentence for assault. In one from 1993, she wrote, "My 18th birthday, you'll be back in my arms, my prom, and I want to get pregnant and have a baby."
All right. Okay. And see, this is what happens. All right. So a young woman will date a guy like this. She was obviously underage when she was dating him. Okay. Rebellious teen years, and people talk about teenage girls, thinking that they're all innocent. Very few of them graduate high school with their virginity intact. And I'm just telling you this as a licensed PI and as a guy who's investigated, and people have had me look into their daughter's behavior and and shenanigans, and just a whole bunch of cases that I can't really go into necessarily. But like young girls get into a lot of stuff. So if you have a young daughter, you've got to keep them under wraps. You got to watch and know what they're doing. You have to. Anyway, so she's talking about, "You'll be back in my arms, my prom, and I want to get pregnant and have a baby with you." Okay, so whoever gets her afterwards, it's unlikely that she is really going to be 100% with you. Now, that's going to be the case with most guys and most women. Most women, we are usually not going to be their first choice, and you shouldn't expect to be. That's just how it works. So the first guy that gets in there and imprints himself on her, now, can she be re-imprinted by someone else? Yes, but you got to be strong. And you have to know that she's been imprinted. Most guys don't have this, and by imprinted, I mean like she's going to have that dude on her mind all the time. All right, so let's keep going. Fair use.
Be with you. Vanessa and Don Jr.'s sister, Ivanka Trump, remain on good terms. When the relationship with Tiger went public, Ivanka rushed to the comments in support, writing, "So happy for you both." In 2016, Vanessa gushed to People magazine about her sister-in-law, calling her a machine and Wonder Woman when it comes to parenting. Vanessa walked the red carpet several times for her husband and father-in-law's hit NBC reality show, The Apprentice. She briefly appeared as herself on the show's 11th season. So when did Vanessa and Tiger first start dating? They likely knew of each other for some time now, seeing as Vanessa's daughter Kai and Tiger's two kids, Charlie and Sam, attend Palm Beach's ritzy Benjamin School with an annual tuition of $38,500.
That is a very nice school. I had a long-term executive protection gig down in South Florida in Palm Beach County, and they had a couple of children that were going to this school. That is the most well-protected school in the state of Florida, maybe on the East Coast, because most of the kids there, their parents are rich, famous, and we had one guy that would follow the mom to school, and he would park outside the school. And so there were a bunch of vehicles like that with executive protection guys. Their job was to sit in the school and make sure nothing happened. So to protect the parents' investments, some of these people are very wealthy, very powerful people, and so there's always the threat of kidnapping, and so that's the main thing. But you don't want to mess with that place there. Stay away from that place. Anyway, let's keep going.
$195 for high school. According to the Daily Mail, Vanessa and Tiger kickstarted their romance before Thanksgiving 2024. The lovebirds have been spotted together a handful of times since, including a round of golf with President Trump. In February of 2025, the Post confirmed Vanessa and Tiger were quietly dating, with an insider adding that she's not starstruck by him. She'd date him even if he weren't famous. Fame doesn't interest her. That's what he likes best about her.
I don't know if I'm buying that. Okay, she goes from Leonardo DiCaprio. Okay, she kind of did a step in the wrong direction with the gangbanger. No disrespect to the Latin Kings. I know quite a few of them. Not being disrespectful. However, she's going from Leonardo DiCaprio to a gangbanger, then to Donald Trump Jr., then to Tiger Woods. So she's not just dating some dude she met at the 7-Eleven, right? All right, so let's keep going.
On March 23rd, the five-time Masters champ hard launched his relationship on Instagram, writing, "Love is in the air and life is better with you by my side. We look forward to our journey through life together. At this time, we would appreciate privacy for all those close to our hearts."
Oh, brother, what a cornball. All right, so some of you guys with this corny stuff you guys write, man. All right, so let's go ahead and analyze this. All right. Okay, so single mom. Is she a single mom? Yes, she's a single mom. 5 children. Maybe alpha widowed. We don't know. We don't know enough about her. But so here's why. Okay, is Tiger Woods taking an L? Yes or no? I'm going to go with a hard no. Okay, and let me explain why. Number one, this is not your ordinary, everyday single mom. She's a single mom from a wealthy family. She's a single mom who married into an even wealthier family. You know what I mean? She's a single mom. When you look at the Trump family, whether you like them or not, I'm not endorsing one way or the other, but here's what I'm saying. He is building, as the patriarch of that family, he is building a financial and political and dynasty and social media dynasty. And so with this type of connection, Tiger Woods is already a very wealthy guy. Obviously, he wants to be wealthier. There's so many things he wants to do. Obviously, Donald Trump has built, I don't know, how many golf courses around the world, resorts, hotels. And so this is one of those marriages that could very well and is going to turn into a marriage of not convenience, but more like a more like a joining of forces, so an alliance, let's call it. And who's going to be on the receiving end of the most benefited from this? It's not Vanessa Trump. Let's be real. She doesn't need Tiger Woods. She's set for life. It's Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods is winning. He is not taking an L on this one. He's got access to, right now, the most powerful man on the planet, one of the most influential men on the planet, a family that is only growing in influence and power and wealth. And so what could he do as a result of leveraging this to help himself? And the sky's the limit. Business, perhaps politics at some point. I could see Tiger Woods running for office at some point, and God help you if you're running against him. You're probably going to lose, But there are so many things that this gives him access to that people aren't thinking about when they ask whether or not he's taking an L. He is not taking an L. She, on the other hand, she's getting married to a guy who's very influential, very, very powerful guy in his own right, as far as the golf world goes and popularity and that sort of thing. He's a wealthy man. I think he's wealthy. His wealth is close to like $700 million or something like that. Obviously, he took a big hit when he got divorced. And so they're both winning, but who's coming out on top, Tiger Woods is coming out on top 100% of the way. And, shout out to Tiger Woods. This was a good decision. His first wife, he had 2 children with. I know everybody had this big thing about her, but she was, she doesn't have any sort of influence. And, the only thing she's famous for is for being married to Tiger Woods. And it's not to put her down. There's nothing wrong with that. But So Tiger Woods, this is going to be a really very low key power couple. He's not a very flashy guy. He wants his privacy and that sappy love letter he wrote on Instagram or wherever it was, on X or whatever else. But he's winning, guys. Tiger Woods is winning. This is not a loss. He's taken a few losses over the years. He's taken several losses. He's taken several really big hits, public perception wise over the years, and rightly so. He's made some very, very big mistakes, but he keeps going, and this is a comeback. And so the rumors are that they're going to be getting married at some point, or that he has engaged, or that he is going to, propose, and they are going to plan a wedding and maybe get married at the White House. That would be awesome. And so, like it or not, guys, the Trump family is turning into almost American political and financial royalty. Is he the richest man on earth? No, that's Elon Musk, who happens to be a friend of his. But he's a very wealthy guy. He's a very influential guy. He's one of the most influential guys in the country, and probably the most influential man on the planet. So, with all that being said, my private eye brain would tell me if he was to call me and say this, and we're going to do this from now on when we do this. I just had a brainstorm, just swerved into this by accident. So from now on, when I do these things, is he taking an L or not? Guys dating women or going out with women, I'm going to give a grading score. So when I do background checks, premarital background checks, one of the things I do, I compile a lot of data from all over the place. I won't go into the nuts and bolts of what I do or how I do it, because that's a trade secret. I do it, other people do it, so I'm not giving that away. Sorry, guys. But I will give you this. What I do is, at the end of it, I assign a score. All right, from 0 to 9. 0 meaning she represents zero risk. 9 meaning change all your passwords, pack a bag and go to the nearest clinic and get an STD check. And so with Vanessa Trump, even though she is a single mom, even though she has 5 children, the baby daddy is not going to cause you trouble. That's number one. Donald Trump Jr. is not going to be banging on your door talking about, you didn't give my son the Cheerios I bought from, or Frosted Flakes, or whatever it might be. That's not going to happen. They know each other. I don't know if him and Don Jr. are going to be best boys or nothing like that. Probably not. That would be a little bit awkward. I don't know, man. It'd just be a little bit awkward, but if they could, it'd be cool. But he's cool with Ivanka Trump. Donald Trump speaks well of him. Dude, he's in. He's in, man. And so if he plays his cards right, he is joining a political and financial dynasty. He is. And again, this is not endorsing one way or the other. I know some people have a deep-seated hatred for Donald Trump, President Trump. Guess what? But I'm speaking facts. All right, so my score, with everything taken into account, without me actually running a background check on her like I normally would, just based on face value, I would put his level of risk with Vanessa Trump at 3.5. There is some risk of the alpha widowing. She has shown some risky behavior. Theoretically, she's gotten past that. Some women do get past it. All women don't revert back to the streets. Contrary to popular opinion or belief. Do a lot of them? Yes, a lot of them will revert to the streets if given the opportunity. But in this case, she has a lot of discipline, and I'm going to explain what I mean by a lot of discipline. Set aside the Leonardo DiCaprio thing. Set aside the gangbanger and the prison love letters. I want to get married to you. For her to link up with Donald Trump Jr., all right? So before she's going to marry Donald Trump Jr., she's going to go through a battery of tests. They're going to hire somebody like me to run background on her and find out everything they can about her. That's one of the things I do with the premarital background checks. I've got 3 different tiers. I do three different tiers because I only had 1 tier before, but that was mostly for wealthy people, and most people can't afford that level of to dedicate that level of financial output for that, even though it's worth it, especially for them. But I have 2 other tiers that give you guys a really good snapshot, not even a snapshot, a roadmap of what they've done throughout their life, and as well as my analysis and the scoring system. And so for her to link up with him. So she had to go through that. She had to go through so many different things. I'm sure she had to sign non-disclosure agreements, confidentiality agreements. When you're joining a family like that, you don't just walk in and you get married and you got the keys to the castle. No, I remember just working for billionaires. The amount of scrutiny you have to undergo is, and maybe one of these days, if you guys want to hear about it, I'll talk about it. But they are incredibly, especially if you're going to be in their house or with their family, excuse me, or in their plane or in their boat, or in their vacation homes or wherever it is, you're in their intimate space on a regular basis. And so they want to do their best they can to understand what your background is and understand what your behavior is. And so you have to, excuse me again. You have to undergo a battery of tests, and all these background checks are done surreptitiously, meaning you're not supposed to know you're being background checked. Now, part of it did include surveillance, and I did spot the surveillance, but surveillance detection is one of my things. That's one of the things I've done for a very long time, and I was trained by some really, really smart and really knowledgeable and skillful people from a long, long time ago, and so I will spot surveillance at some point. I may not spot it, right away, but I will eventually spot it. And so, but I kind of expected it because I knew if I was a billionaire and someone was going to be in my home, I would want to check their background as well. And I've had people tell me, "Man, you have a boring life." Yeah, look, for people to trust me with the work now, I have an exciting job. But my life in general, like, okay, I date different women. I go places every now and then. Like today, I went to the cigar club, and then I went and met a client for lunch after the cigar club, and ran business and did the rest of that thing, and then had to come back here, and I'm still quarterbacking cases in different parts of the country. And so the work I do is exciting, between the private investigations, the consulting, as well as the bail bond stuff. It is a very exciting job. But my life in itself, for my life to be exciting, I would have to be living kind of a sloppy life. And so some people that do live kind of a sloppy life, they'll call me to help them with some of their issues. And I help them pick up the pieces. But so she had to go through a lot to marry Donald Trump Jr. They stayed married for 12 years, 5 children. And let's be honest, odds are the person cheating was probably not Vanessa. Wasn't Vanessa. It was probably Don Jr. Let's be real. Even though he's one of the bros, we got to call it down the middle here, right, guys? So that's why she has now her risk factor would be lower if she didn't have this rebellious teenage years. If she's hanging out with a gangbanger before she turns 18, let's be real. Like there's physical, fun bedroom activity shenanigans most likely going on in those circumstances. Okay, whatever. That's in the past. But now she seems to have cleaned up her act. Obviously, she did. And I think Tiger Woods is making a really, really good business move, man. Like, I'm sure they're in love. But as a byproduct, this is a really, really good business move. This is a tremendous alliance. And I wish more men would think strategically when they choose a life partner. If you stay for life, whatever, things happen, whatever. But you got to be more careful and more discerning. And if you do me a favor, guys, before we sign off, hit like, subscribe, share. I'm going to be doing more of these. This was a reaction video and more case file discussions, and as well as I'm going to go deeper and deeper into some old cold cases that are in the news. I'm actually working on a case right now to try to help get a man out of prison. And so who knows, maybe, if I'm successful, I'll tell you guys about it. If I fail, I'll just let it fade away. I won't say anything about it, but hit like, subscribe, share, and keep tuned in, guys. Stay plugged in, and we will be doing much, much more going forward into the future. It's your boy, Private Eye Russ. I am out. Oh, let me know what you guys think about the sideburns of justice. Look at that. I had to trim it. They were actually getting bushy, and I don't really like it like that, man. But all right.